Hey, my name is Artem and I'm a non-native English speaker and I help entrepreneurs and content creators speak English fluently so they can become experts. So in this video, I'll explain to you why it is so important to think in English and how you can think in English 24/7. So I'm going to give you an entire framework and explain why it is so important to think in English. So continue watching if you're interested in that. As an entrepreneur, you want to be able to think in English. Because what if you cannot think in English? Well, there's a lot of problems that stem from that. So, if you cannot think in English, your speech will be slower, you will feel less confident, and it will take you longer to switch to English. So, let's say you're thinking in your native language, but then you have a call in 5 minutes and you need to do that in English. Well, it's going to be difficult for you to think in English, and it's going to be difficult for you to switch your mind to speaking in a different language. You'll also feel this barrier that just makes you nervous, and you will also make more mistakes because of that. So, for example, you'll randomly start saying words in your native language. You will start translating from your native language. Suddenly, you use a grammar rule from your native language and you apply it to English. And so your speech becomes unclear, less professional, less of an expert, and you just sound really strange. And people do not understand what you're talking about. And that hurts your sales, that hurts your business, that hurts literally everything in your life. So you want to be able to think in English, and then you will be able to speak even better. My teacher said to me in school 10 years ago that there's no way you can think in English. But honestly, right now, I speak better English than her. Now I teach others how to do the same. I teach them how to actually think in English and how to speak in English instead of how to learn English, right? So 1 week ago, I was explaining this concept of thinking in English to my students and how I was able to do that 24/7. I can literally do that 24/7. I can switch to English and just think in English all the time without a problem and enter this flow state. So in this video, I'll explain this concept to you as well. So you can think like a monk, literally. So here I have like a simple diagram of thinking in English, and also there's like another diagram which relates to that, and it's going to be about meditation. So let's start. So first, to think in English, all you have to do is to just focus in English. So this is the first step. You simply focus thinking in English, right? You just force yourself to think in a different language. And that works. It's just like forcing yourself to speak in a different language, but inside of your mind, right? I mean, you can try that right now. You can try to think in English right now, try to speak in your mind in English. That's literally what you're doing. And then, of course, there's going to be like a distraction after a while. So, for example, your mom calls you, or your wife calls you, or somebody else calls you, or your husband calls you, right? And so that distraction just brought you to your native language again. And so you need to become aware of that. You need to have the awareness that you shifted from English to your native language. And when you have this kind of awareness, when you realize that, actually, I switched from my native language to from English to native language, right? So I want to get back to thinking in English. And this is the hardest step, right? It's not about becoming aware. Becoming aware is really easy. To become aware, you just need to have this reminder on your wall, for example, or you need to watch like a lot of videos about thinking in English, and then you're just going to have this awareness and you're going to be thinking about the fact that you need to switch to English, right? So it's easy to become aware of the fact that you were distracted by something, right? And you stop thinking in English. So then you want to get back to thinking in English. And this is probably the hardest step because, well, you need to force yourself, you need to exert willpower. But when you do that, when you finally switch to thinking in English, it's going to be easy for you to focus thinking in English. And, well, you need to repeat that process again when you become distracted. So it could be difficult, but this is basically the process of thinking in English. And you get 1 point when you get back to thinking in English. And so with every point that you get, it just becomes easier. So think of it like a multiplier. So every time you get 1 point, you just simply multiply your thinking in English by the number that you have right now, by the score that you have right now, plus one. So it just becomes better and better and better. And eventually you will just switch to English completely. So then meditation basically works the same way. So first you focus on your breath. So if you have ever meditated, that's perfect because when you focus on your breath, you want to just simply focus on your breath. You want to have zero thoughts in your mind. right? You don't want to think in any language, right? But then there's a distraction. Random thought pops into your brain, and so you start thinking about stuff. You start thinking about your grandma or about your mother or about your father or about the thing that happened yesterday or something else, right? About like a specific person or a specific event or something else. And so you have this thought, you have this distraction in your mind. And so you're basically doing the same thing. You want to become aware of the fact that you had this distraction. And then when you become aware, you just go back to following your breath, right? You start following your breath, and that's plus 1 point. When you get back to following your breath, you are strengthening your willpower in your mind, right? And when you strengthen your willpower, you're just basically going to become more disciplined, more focused, and it's going to be easier for you to meditate the next time. You're going to have less thoughts in your mind. And even when you do, you're going to become aware of this thought, and it's going to be easier for you to go back and follow your breath. So when you practice meditation, you will understand this even better, and it's going to be really easy for you to think in English. And so, also to think in English, what you want is to just watch more content in English. But the thing is, you're probably already doing it because you're watching this video in English. And so you already understand English on a good level and you know all these different words. So, literally, all you have to do is to just switch your mind to English. And this way, you are going to improve your English. And so you just need to get more points. You just need to level up this English willpower. And when you do, you will think in English confidently, even in your mind. And then it just helps you with your speaking as well. So also you want to have a reminder. Like I said, you need to become aware of the fact that you've become distracted, right? So when you meditate, there's like a reminder. Sometimes if you listen to a guided meditation, there's a reminder, go back to following your breath. If you have a thought, go back to following your breath or something like this. So you want to have the same thing when you want to think in English. So before doing every call, I had a reminder to smile. So before like going on a call with somebody or before recording a video on YouTube, I have a reminder to smile, right? I had a reminder, but now I don't because I do this all the time. I mean, I don't do this on videos, but when I'm going on a call with somebody in English, I just always smile automatically because I learned this behavior. So you want to do the same thing. Because for me, it worked like magic. Like if you've ever been on a call with me, you will understand what I'm talking about because I just smile all the time. I just keep the smile and it just helps me to make more sales. It just helps me to increase customer satisfaction, just help me to increase every single aspect of my interaction with people. And it just helps me to increase my level of English as well. Because when you have a positive vibe, when you have a positive attitude, it just becomes easier for you to talk with a customer or with a member or with anyone, literally with any person. So you want to have this reminder as well. So basically place it on your wall. So for example, you just write down think in English and then place it on your wall. And so every time you sit down to work or every time you simply enter your room or enter your kitchen, if you like place it in kitchen, it's going to be easier for you to think in English because you'll have this reminder. You'll become aware of the fact that you need to switch to English. And then just get back to following the breath or get back to thinking in English. So it's really simple. And of course, it's going to take time. I'm not saying that tomorrow you will think in English fluently 24/7 like a monk. No, it's not going to happen. It takes years to become a good monk, and it takes years to meditate on a good level. And it means doing the same thing 1 trillion times, basically. So what you are doing is not the fact that you're like meditating 1 trillion times, but you are getting back to following your breath 1 trillion times, literally. Because when you have a thought, you just need to become aware, and this process happens all the time when you are meditating. It's like when if you have ever meditated, you probably understand what I mean because you need to uh, go back to following your breath a lot of times before you finally can just simply enter this state where you have no thoughts, right? So you want to get like a lot of points. You want to get 1 trillion points before you can actually enter that state. And so the same thing is with English as well. So literally, you need to start focusing on your breath and getting back to it when you become distracted. And that's how you become good at meditating. And that's how you can become fluent as well, because simply focus on thinking in English If you have a thought, just simply switch it to English. If you think about your ex or about your kids or about that thing that happened yesterday, just simply start thinking about it in English, in a different language. And then if you suddenly switch to a native language while thinking about this thing, just simply become aware of it and change the internal monologue to English. And this way you're going to become better at speaking in English, and it's just going to get easier, and you're going to become more of an expert when you're talking to anyone and when you go on calls. That's how you can start thinking in English. This is the entire process. It's super simple. You can screenshot this if you want. And I also wanted to mention that I have my own Expert English Secrets course. So this is a free course inside of my free community that you can join. When you open up this course, it's just going to help you to unlock your English voice so you can sound like an expert in business and content creation. Check out this course because it's going to help you a lot with your English as a non-native speaker. And also, click a like button and comment down below what is your favorite tip from this video. And I see you in the next one. Bye bye.